you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2465, Family Time. I apologize for being on so late. We got back from lunch and I kind of fell asleep and woke up about an hour ago. And then had a call from my sister-in-law. So been a little busy the last hour. But anyway, here we are. It is a lot cooler today in Waikanae than it was. I actually had to put the gas heater on in the living room on today because it was a little too nippy for me. And I had the heater on here in the office. It was single digit Celsius. So somewhere it was down in the high 30s Fahrenheit. But anyway, family time. Yes, we got to do family time today, and family time was awesome. Once in a while, my dad and his first cousins and their wives get together, or their spouses get together and have lunch. And I was fortunate enough that they were doing it this time, and I got invited along to lunch today. And some of them I knew, and I had some of them I have known, and others I had not. So I got to meet two couples that I had never met before, and got to be reacquainted with. And of course, all of them except one to me was first cousins once removed, meaning that they're my dad's first cousins, and I'm one removed from that generation level. And there was one there that was actually my second cousin. And I'd last seen her 7 years ago, 2019. When I last seen it was for my brother at my brother's 50th. And we were trying to figure out, and I said, look, I know I met you at your dad's funeral, which was a lot of, back in 1989, when her father unexpectedly passed away. And I know I met her then. I said, but I know I've met you since because you look so familiar. So we're sitting there at lunch, and all of a sudden I go, were you at Craig's 50th? And she goes, yes. And we're like, yay. And now we all connected the dots and figured it out. So that was a very good thing. But got caught up on the cousins that I knew. We got caught up on what's happening with them and their children and their grandchildren and and one of them's got great-grandchildren. And the ones that I didn't know but have heard of. The other two couples that were there that I'd never met before were actually brother and sister with their spouses there. And so I knew who their dad was. He was my grandfather's brother. So I knew who their dad was, and cleared up some questions that I had. We got some questions cleared up. And one of them was very surprising. So now it's made something that was a mystery, which we thought we had solved, back into a mystery again. And it all goes on a middle name, because there was years ago I was at the IRD and I can't remember why. And the IRD is it's equivalent of the IRS in the States. It's New Zealand's equivalent to the IRS in the States. And I was actually in the IRD office in Wellington meeting with one of their business managers. And it was all on setting up business entities and all of that sort of stuff. They're very, very helpful in that regard. And he said, we'll just need to look you up in the system. I said, well, that won't be any problem because I'm the only Helen Mary Eakins in the system. He goes, oh, no, you're not. I went, wait, what? And hang on, what's that? Oh, that was on my screen. Okay, I thought I had a bug on the wall behind me, but it turned out to be on my screen. Now I have the smear there. Hang on. Got to get rid of the smear now. There we go. That little bug's no longer there. I was hoping I didn't have to turn around and go squish it. No, just a bit. It's right there on Casey Kiwi's beak. All right, there we go. Now we got it. So I always thought that this couple had a daughter called Helen as well, and I thought that she was the other Helen Mary Eakins because I didn't know of any other Helen Eakins. And it turns out that she wasn't the other Helen. So now I'm like, okay, so who was the other Helen Mary Eakins? So I'm on a mission. I've got to go find the other one. And we've got a branch of the family that came down in Christchurch, and they've never really had anything to do with us. I'm not sure if they're related or not. I've still got to figure that out. I think there is a grandparentage in there where we have in common, and they're just on a different branch. But there may be a linkage there. There may not be a linkage. And so we got talking and had lunch, had a great lunch, listening to different stories going around the table. And then they had to kick us out of our table and say, look, you can go sit in the bar, but we need this table for 1:30, and it's like 1:10. Another party coming in. We're like, okay. So we all went and paid our bills and went and sat in the bar for a few more minutes and just chit-chatted and all of that sort of stuff. And got some blank pieces filled in on my family tree, which I was very excited to do. Got connections now to go visit people to see bits and pieces that they have that's been passed down to them that come from our grandparents. My great-grandparents, their grandparents. So yeah, so that's kind of interesting. And then Dad started another mystery by asking one of his cousins about something in the family that has been passed on to somebody. We just don't know who has it. And so now we've got that mystery going on. Which cousin, what happened to them, and where are they, and who's got them, and we don't know. So, shoot, hang on. Sorry, still got sore ribs. And I filled up my water thing, and it's on my right side, and that's the side that hurts. So it was a great lunch, and it was just nice to sit there and talk, and questions came up naturally. And there was no interview. I did no recordings at all, because there's a lot of noise, and the recordings would not have come out clear. I did not pull out my notebook and take notes. I took lots of mental notes, so I have written down some of them, and some of them I'm going to go in and fill in the details where I have details to fill in and stuff. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and just sitting there, just talking with people and finding out more about them, and especially the ones that I hadn't met before, and filling in more information and getting invites to go to their places and come to our place and I'll show you da 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 da. And I was like, this is going to be so much fun. I was like, oh, they said, and one of them said they had some old photos. I said, I would love to see them. They said, well, we've actually got the albums, but there's holes in them. And I'm like, holes? And he says, yeah, it's one of those ones that you somehow put photographs in and they come inside this frame, and they might have been pushed up into the page or something where you can't see them anymore. But he says, I'll have to dig them out and have a look. But they've got like names on them, but there's no photo there. And so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And so when I come up, I'll come up with my laptop so I can show you the family tree. And what started the whole conversation with this couple was that when I was on the AI Open office this morning, we had somebody who came in. Now, my last name is spelled E-K-I-N-S. And there was somebody that came in with E-A-K-I-N-S, and E-A-K-I-N-S is the old spelling of Ekins, E-K-I-N-S. So at some point in history, our branch of the family dropped the A out of Ekins. And so I thought, I wonder, and of course I'm sitting there going, I wonder if this person is related. Well, now's not the time to ask them, because that will send us down a whole nother rabbit hole. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can find them and reach out to them and just do some exploring. But first I've got to go back and like in the 1700s, we have a William Ekins, E-A-K-I-N-S, in the 1700s, and who I descend from. And I've got to go back and see when they dropped the A and it just became E-K-I-N-S, and see what happens with that. So family fun, family time can just be sitting around just chit-chatting, and you just remember little stories as you're going along the day. If you get a chance, take out a notebook and just make a couple of notes, do it. My notebook is in my handbag, but it's about this size. So it's obvious when you take out the notebook that you're taking notes. Sometimes I probably should just take like a little notebook like this one, or even this little guy. And I've got some little ones here. I should have taken one of those where I could have just had it on my lap and just written a couple of notes down and that sort of thing. But, it's one of those things. And it just wasn't the place to record because of the noise around us. My dad has an app on his phone that he has to adjust for his hearing aid so he can hear in places like that. I was like, yeah, I need a microphone with stuff like that. But it was really cool just to sit there, get to know Dad's first cousins that I had not met before, and just to chit chat and talk with them, and learn some more about their families, and then those that I've known for years. Just it was great to catch up with them and find out that one of the cousins had moved twice since I'd last seen her, and her family has grown hugely. Like all three of her kids have got kids that are married with kids of their own, and so she's got grandkids, and now she has 3 great grandkids. So that was kind of exciting to catch up with that. And she's got one of her grandchildren's getting married this month, and so just catching up with stuff like that. It was so much fun, and questions just came about naturally. There was no interviewing, as in sitting down and interviewing. Although if I asked them, they probably all would have said yep. And we could have set up times, they might have said, yep, and we could have set up times to do that. And I'll probably do that when I go and visit one of them, or just say to him when I get there, hey, do you mind if I record this so I can get the stories down and get the information correct, put into the tree, or find new clues to go and do some more investigation and that sort of stuff. So, and he goes, "You're really into this family history stuff, aren't you?" And I says, "Do you know what I do for a full-time job?" He's like, "No." I says, "I'm a genealogist." And he just starts laughing. But he recognized too that the Ekins trait of storytelling was very much alive in me. So, but I had a great time, and my mum and dad were just laughing about how I was talking to everybody, and like I was going around the table, people I hadn't met yet, I was giving them hugs, and their family, giving them hugs and saying hi to them and going, "Now you must be da da da." And we had 2 Grahams there, and my brother spelt 1 Graham one way and 1 Graham the other way. And I said, "Which one is the," and it turns out they're both spelt the same way. So yes. So I got that corrected, which I was thankful for because I hate having inaccurate records. So it was a very good day. And then we came home. I was absolutely exhausted by the time I got home. I think I got 2 hours of solid sleep last night. I had to be up at, I was up at 2:15 to be online by 2:45 for the Mailbox Power Q&A training, and haven't had a chance to go back to bed since. But after I got home, I did get out of my jeans and back into sweatpants because they're more comfortable to wear, and sat down in the recliner and fell asleep for a couple of hours, I think it was. Yeah, a couple of hours of sleep in the recliner, and just so tired. And so I'm not going to church tomorrow. I said, Mum says I can't. I'm just so tired and sore. I just want to take today and Monday to do as much rest up as I can. I haven't even unpacked my suitcase. Do you know how rare that is for me? Usually I come home and one of the first things I do within the first half hour of being home is I unpack my suitcase. The first load of laundry is on. The rest of the laundry is sitting by the washing machine waiting to. My suitcase is still packed. It is undone because I had to get my toilet bag out of there, but it is fully packed. It's still got all the clothes in there. Everything else is still in there. And I'm sort of like, I look at it and go, I really have to empty that, and I really have to get the laundry done. And I think half the clothes that are in there are going to end up going to the thrift store because they're just, when I was wearing them, I'd stop and look at the full-length mirror because I don't have a full-length mirror here. I just have one that does from the shoulders up in the bathroom, and that's it. And I caught glimpses of myself on the cruise when I was in with the full-length mirror that you have in the rooms, and I was just shocked by how my clothes hung on me. They weren't grabbing onto any curves or anything. They were hanging on me. And I was like, jeepers, I seriously need to do some sorting out for my clothes. And like, there's a couple of shirts in there that were XX, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking I could probably get away with a large. Maybe a medium, but definitely a large. Like, jeepers, that's 2 sizes I've lost. I have released. Yes, amazing what stress, anxiety, and overwhelm will do to your body. But anyway, on that note, I'm out of it. But the lesson for today is, if you're just sitting around with family and talking, just find places that you can naturally add in questions about the family tree. Conversations will lead you in all sorts of directions. You're not sitting there for a formal interview. You're just sitting there with family and just chit-chatting. And especially when you're catching up on what's going on with your kids now. Tell me about your kids, what's happening with them, and that sort of stuff. It leads to stuff being revealed about the family and that sort of thing as well. And some of it is sensitive, and some of it is funny, and some of it's sad, and you get all sorts in there. But I had a blast catching up with cousins today and meeting cousins I've never met before, which was super, super nice to do. And so I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity today, and looking forward to another opportunity down the road where we all get together and around the table again. So with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific if I'm not asleep. Hei konara.